Topping today's news, Prime Minister Davis talks about the successful resolution on an international tax regime at the United Nations. The Prime Minister also updates on the Sylvanus Petty circumstances at the Water and Sewage Corporation, and the Ministry of Tourism set to celebrate a record-breaking year in tourist arrivals. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jcn Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It is a pleasure to have you join us. At the beginning of the week, Prime Minister Philip Davis, in a written statement, applauded the recent passage of a United Nations UN resolution that calls for the creation of an intergovernmental committee to establish a UN framework on international tax cooperation by August of 2024. On Monday, on the sidelines of the Golden Jubilee Independence Award ceremony at Bahama Resort, reporters asked Prime Minister Davis, what kind of impact will the resolution have on the Bahamas?
Well, the resolution has been passed, but as you would note, most of the major economies didn't support it. And the OECD countries didn't support it. But I would have written to the UN Secretary General in September, making the case as to why we ought to have a more independent and more inclusive body to deal with these issues of taxation. They accepted, obviously, the move that I made. I have it in writing. I could share the letter with you all. I don't know whether the committee you all have shared it. But this is something I took on from I came into office, because
the Prime Minister went on to explain why he and his administration decided to take on the challenge of facing giants like the OECD and the European Union and agitate for the United Nations to become the authority on international tax laws.
The rules that have been imposed upon us without our even having an ability to discuss these rules before they are even implemented, to understand what it is, because a lot of times the rules they put in place and then the sanctions that follow impact us, and it's sometimes very costly to implement some of the initiatives that they want. So there's no regard to our circumstance, the cost that might be incurred by putting in these initiatives, what it's doing to our economy. There's no input from small and developing states. So I'm happy that the UN has listened to my heed. I started this from September of 2021. My first intervention at the General Assembly spoke to this, and I'm seeing now taking root. And hopefully we'll see how it pans out.
Prime Minister Davis said, for this reason, we will have to wait and see how it pans out, because at the end of the day, some of these countries are unto themselves, he said. However, he is hopeful that with 142 countries supporting the resolution, it will ultimately bode well for the Bahamas and other small island developing states that often find themselves on financial blacklists. Prime Minister Philip Davis also giving an update on the matter regarding former Water and Sewage Corporation Executive Chairman Sylvanus Petty, who tendered his resignation on November 15th as chairman of the Water and Sewage Corporation after he admitted in court during the Adrian Gibson corruption trial that his daughter received a contract valued at $26,000 from the Water and Sewage Corporation without it going to tender. Asked if there was any further investigations going on into the actions of the former chairman, Prime Minister Davis told reporters on Monday that no further investigations have been carried out, and he sought to explain why.
I have not done any investigations. The action I took was as a result of of his admissions in court, and we are still talking with him about these matters.
While being cross-examined by attorney Damian Gomez KC, who represents Mr. Gibson, Mr. Petty said he did not frown on nepotism and had no problem with the company entering into contracts with political allies if they were capable. He added that everyone in the Bahamas is family. The Bahamas is seemingly about to make history as the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation has announced plans to host a special 2023 record-breaking visitor arrival press conference and brunch on Monday, December 4th at Margaritaville Beach Resort. At the end of October, the Ministry of Tourism revealed total visitor arrivals for the first 9 months of 2023 equaled the numbers for all of 2019, which was a record-breaking year with 7.2 million visitors arriving to the Bahamas. Tourism Minister Chester Cooper said at the time it was now certain that the Bahamas would hit its record 8 million total visitors targeted for 2023. Only 9 months in, at the end of September, total air and sea arrivals hit 7.2 million people, outpacing 2019 figures by 33%, playing a major role in the record-breaking number of arrivals is the Ministry of Tourism's global marketing strategy that targeted new areas with focus on Latin America, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, as well as Australia, in addition to the major markets like the United States and Canada. The number of tourist arrivals to the various major family islands also increased, with Bimini leading the way, up by a staggering 138%. And there is still the month of December left to go for more tourists to arrive. And finally, in this segment, after suffering the 95th and 96th murder for the year on Saturday and Sunday respectively, police are now not only looking for the culprits of those weekend shootings, but now they are on the hunt for the culprits responsible for 2 more shootings that took place on Monday, leaving 3 adult males with serious injuries from gunshots. The first incident involves a 30-year-old male victim and occurred on Fleming Street. Police say around 5:24 p.m. while driving east, the victim heard gunshots but did not see in which direction they were coming from or who was discharging them. However, moments later, he lost control of his vehicle and collided into a nearby wall. Subsequently, the victim realized that he had sustained multiple gunshot wounds to his back and was transported to the Princess Margaret Hospital for treatment. The second incident occurring in the Yellow Elder Gardens area on Nelson Street, where 2 adult males were targeted. Preliminary reports indicate that around 7:30 p.m., the victims were on the exterior of a residence when 2 unknown males riding on a motorcycle opened fire in their direction. The first victim, aged 25, was shot in his right arm. The second victim, aged 24, sustained gunshot wounds to the left chest and to the hand. Both victims were transported to the Princess Margaret Hospital by an ambulance. If you have details that could assist the police with their investigation into these shootings, you can call 911, 919, or you can call the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, at 502-9991, or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. That's 328-8477. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.